They didn't knock on my classroom door. They walked in with a uniformed officer. 32 students watched as the assistant principal avoided my eyes and said, "Thomas Whitaker, we need you to come with us." Phones were already out. No one explained anything. I saw the word predator on someone's screen before I even stood up. By lunchtime, my name was trending in the county. By dinner, parents were demanding my arrest. I had taught at that school for 25 years, and in less than 3 hours, I became the man everyone was sure they always suspected. If you think reputation protects you, it doesn't. Subscribe, because what destroyed my career wasn't just an accusation. It was who helped it spread. The hallway was too quiet. That's what I remember most. When Assistant Principal Karen Doyle stepped into my classroom with a uniformed officer behind her, no one spoke at first. 32 juniors looked up from their copies of The Crucible, confused at the interruption. Irony doesn't announce itself. It just stands there and waits. "Mr. Whitaker," Karen said, voice clipped and professional, "please gather your things." "Is something wrong?" I asked. Her eyes didn't meet mine. "We need to speak privately." The officer stayed by the door. That was when the phones came out. Students don't need instructions. They smell spectacle. I closed my laptop slowly, deliberately. My pulse was steady. Too steady. The kind of calm your body chooses when it doesn't yet understand the danger. "What's this about?" I asked again. Karen inhaled, barely. "There's been a complaint." Complaint. The word floated there, harmless on the surface. But the officer didn't look harmless. As I stepped into the hallway, I heard a whisper from inside the classroom. "Isn't that about Emma?" Emma. My mind stalled. Emma Clark, senior, a P Literature, smart, engaged, recently missing assignments. The hallway stretched long and exposed. Every door we passed seemed to open a little wider, teachers pretending not to stare. The officer walked half a step behind me, not close enough to touch, close enough to imply. By the time we reached the administrative office, my phone was vibrating in my pocket, over and over. Karen opened the conference room door and gestured inside. I stepped in. She closed it behind me. And that was the moment I realized something irreversible had already happened. Because no one was asking what happened. They were asking how bad it was. The conference room blinds were already closed. That detail told me everything. This wasn't confusion. It was containment. Karen sat across from me at the long oak table. The officer remained standing near the door, arms folded, not hostile, just present enough to remind me of the stakes. I kept my hands flat on the table. "What's the allegation?" I asked. Karen slid a single sheet of paper toward me, but didn't let go of it. "A student has reported inappropriate communication." "Inappropriate how?" She hesitated, just long enough for it to feel rehearsed. "She claims you made her uncomfortable. That messages were sent outside school channels, but there was favoritism." "Which student? You know who?" "No," I said calmly. "I don't." She finally released the paper. "Emma Clark." The room seemed to tilt slightly. "She requested a private meeting last week about her midterm." Karen continued. "She says comments were made that crossed professional boundaries. That's not true." It came out steady, not defensive, just factual. Karen's pen tapped once against her notebook. "We have to take these reports seriously." "I expect you to." The officer shifted his weight. "There are also screenshots circulating," she added. "Screenshots of what?" She didn't answer immediately. "Messages. I don't text students. They were sent through the school portal. I respond to academic questions." After 9 p.m.? The question wasn't neutral. I grade after 9 p.m. Karen leaned forward slightly. Tom, if there's context, this is the time. There it was. Not investigation. Invitation to confess. There is no context, I said, because nothing inappropriate happened. Silence. She made a note. You are being placed on administrative leave pending investigation. How long? Until further notice. And my classes? Covered. 25 years of credibility covered. As I reached for my phone, Karen spoke again. For your own protection, we recommend you refrain from contacting students or discussing this publicly. For my protection, I repeated. She didn't answer. When I finally looked at my screen, I understood why. 3 missed calls from my wife, 12 text messages, and 1 notification from a parent group forum. The headline read, Whitaker under investigation. The comments were already multiplying, and I hadn't even left the building yet. They told me to use the side exit, not for my safety, for optics. I walked past the faculty parking lot with my head up, not defiant, just deliberate. I refused to hurry. The officer didn't follow me outside. That was important. They wanted the image contained to the hallway, not the street. But containment doesn't survive Wi-Fi. By the time I reached my car, my phone had 47 notifications. I opened one. A blurred photo of me in the hallway. Karen walking beside me. Captioned, Finally caught. Finally. As if I'd been waiting to be exposed, the comments moved faster than I could read. Always gave me weird vibes. Knew something was off. Protect our daughters. Daughters. The word made my stomach tighten. My own daughter, Lily, was 2 hours away at State University. I started the engine, and that's when my wife called again. I answered on the second ring. Tom? Her voice wasn't angry. It was frightened. Where are you? She asked. Leaving school. What happened? I'm on administrative leave. Silence. Then, why are parents posting about you? There it was. Not is it true? But why are they saying it? There's been an allegation, I said carefully. Allegation of what? I could have softened it. I didn't. Improper communication with a student. She inhaled sharply. Who? Emma Clark. Another silence. Longer this time. Tom, she said slowly, you need to tell me right now if there's anything I don't know. The question cut deeper than the accusation. There isn't, I said. You swear? I swear. She exhaled, but not with relief, with calculation. Lily just texted me, she said quietly. Of course she did. What did she say? She asked if it's true. The house I have built over 25 years, the career, the marriage, the trust, wasn't collapsing publicly first. It was collapsing privately. And the investigation hadn't even started yet. They scheduled the formal interview 48 hours later. Not with law enforcement, not yet. With the district's legal representative. That detail mattered. When I walked into the boardroom, there were 3 people waiting. Karen Doyle, the district attorney for internal review, and David Mercer. David, department colleague, 15 years side by side. Shared lesson plans, covered each other's classes, attended each other's family barbecues. He didn't meet my eyes. You asked for a union rep, the district attorney said. Yes, he'll join us shortly. They had already arranged the chairs, so I sat alone on one side. Subtle, deliberate. We'll begin with the nature of the allegation, the attorney continued. She summarized it clinically. Private messaging outside academic necessity. Suggestive tone. A comment about Emma's maturity. A recommendation letter implied in exchange for closer mentorship. Each sentence felt like a translation of something I did not recognize. "That is categorically false," I said. Karan folded her hands. "Emma provided screenshots. I want to see them. They are part of the investigative file. I have a right to review evidence against me." "You will," the attorney said calmly. "In due course." Due course. David shifted in his chair. The attorney turned to him. "Mr. Mercer, as department head, you were consulted." David cleared his throat. "Tom's been under stress lately," he said carefully. He mentioned frustration about Emma's declining performance. Frustration. As if irritation becomes misconduct. "I said she stopped turning in work," I replied. "Because she did." David avoided my eyes again. "There were also concerns raised last semester about blurred boundaries," he added. I stared at him. "What concerns?" "Just observations. Late-night grading sessions. Extended one-on-one conferences." I felt something cold move through my chest. "That's called teaching," Karan interjected smoothly. No one is saying guilt has been established. But no one was defending innocence either. The attorney leaned forward. "Thomas, the district's priority is student safety and reputational stability." Reputational stability. Not truth. "We are offering you an opportunity," she continued, "to resign quietly while the matter is reviewed." There it was. The real meeting. Not to investigate, to remove. "If I resign," I said slowly, "what does that communicate?" The attorney didn't blink. "That you are choosing discretion." No. It communicated guilt, and they knew it. "I will not resign," I said. Silence. Karen's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. David looked down at the table. And in that moment, I understood something worse than the accusation. This wasn't about evidence yet. It was about risk management. And I was the most convenient risk in the room. They sent the evidence packet 2 days later. Digitally. No ceremony, no explanation. Just an encrypted email with subject line, "Whitaker Review File." I opened it at my dining room table. My wife sat across from me, not touching her coffee. The first screenshot appeared on the screen. A message thread from the school portal. My name at the top, Emma's beneath it. The highlighted message read, "You're far more mature than most students your age." I stared at it. The timestamp was 9:42 p.m. I remembered the message. I remembered the context. Emma had written a paper analyzing moral ambiguity in the Scarlet Letter. It was unusually nuanced for her age. I'd responded, "Your interpretation shows emotional maturity beyond your peers. Academic. Precise." But the screenshot had cropped the previous messages. It removed the essay reference. It removed the sentence before it. What remained looked different. The next screenshot. "Let's discuss this privately." Again, cropped. The full thread had read, "Let's discuss this privately during tomorrow's office period so I can help you refine your thesis." The word office was gone. The phrase refine your thesis was gone. Just privately. Strategic. My wife leaned forward. "This is manipulated." "Yes. Can you prove that?" I opened my archived portal logs. The full threads were still there. Unedited. Time-stamped. Intact. I'd felt the first flicker of clarity since the escort. "They're using partial captures," I said. My wife's voice was tight. Why would Emma do this? That question had been sitting quietly at the edge of everything. Why? Emma wasn't failing. She wasn't hostile. She wasn't reckless. Unless... I opened another document in the packet. A parent complaint attached. Emma's mother. Filed 2 weeks ago. The subject line read, "Concern regarding male faculty boundaries." Not about me directly. about the school climate. I leaned back slowly. This isn't random, I said. What do you mean? This was prepared. The timing, the cropping, the complaint filed before the allegation. Someone had built a foundation before lighting the match. My wife's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then went pale. What? I asked. She turned the screen toward me. A local news site had picked up the story. No charges. No findings. Just veteran teacher under investigation for inappropriate conduct. The article ended with a quote from Assistant Principal Karen Doyle. We take all student concerns seriously and act swiftly when boundaries are crossed. Boundaries crossed. No investigation complete. No evidence reviewed. But the narrative had already been chosen. And I was beginning to understand something chilling. This wasn't spiraling. It was structured. Lily didn't call. She drove home. 3 hours. No warning. I heard her car before I saw her. The door opened with a force that wasn't dramatic, just decisive. She stepped into the living room still wearing her university sweatshirt, backpack hanging from one shoulder. She didn't hug me. She didn't accuse me either. She just looked at me. Tell me the truth, she said. There are few sentences more terrifying than that from your own child. I have, I said quietly. That's not what I mean. She dropped her bag on the couch. I've read the posts. I've read the article. People are saying there are screenshots. There are. And they're cropped. She stared at me. Dad, did you ever say anything that could be misunderstood? There was. Not guilt. Possibility. I swallowed. I've praised students' work. I've encouraged them. I've stayed late to help when they were struggling. That's not what I asked. I closed my eyes for half a second. No, I said. I have never crossed a line. Not emotionally. Not verbally. Not an implication. She searched my face the way children do when they're trying to decide if they still recognize the person in front of them. You swear? She asked. Yes. Silence filled the room. Finally, she exhaled. Then why does everyone sound so sure? Because certainty spreads faster than truth. Because doubt is contagious. Because headlines don't require evidence. I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said, because accusation feels like proof. She sat down slowly. I had a professor message me this morning, she said, just checking if I was okay. The humiliation wasn't professional anymore. It was generational. Are you? I asked her. She hesitated. I don't know, she admitted. And that was worse than anger. Because anger at least has direction. Uncertainty just sits there. Before she left that night, she stopped at the door. If you're innocent, she said, don't resign. I looked at her. I won't. She nodded once. Then fight. And for the first time since the escort, the word didn't feel reckless. It felt necessary. If this was structured, I needed to find the structure. I stopped thinking like a teacher. I started thinking like a defense attorney. First, timeline. Emma's mother filed a climate concern complaint 2 weeks before the allegation. That complaint referenced inappropriate tone from unnamed faculty. Second, screenshots released to administration within 48 hours of my suspension. Third, social media amplification almost immediately after. That speed required preparation. I requested full server logs from the school portal. The district stalled. Under review. Processing. Pending authorization. So I contacted the teachers' union legal counsel directly. They moved faster. Within 3 days, I had something interesting. The metadata on the screenshots submitted by Emma did not match the original server timestamps. Specifically, The screenshots were exported from a device 2 days before Emma filed the formal complaint. 2 days, meaning the images were prepared prior to official reporting. That alone didn't prove fabrication, but it proved coordination. Then came the detail that tightened everything. The export device was registered to the school's administrative Wi-Fi, not a student phone, an internal workstation. I stared at that line for a long time. Administrative workstation. I thought about who had early access to the complaint draft. Karen Doyle and David Mercer. Department head. Access to teacher portal logs. Access to internal network. Access to Emma's academic file. I went back to something David had said in the meeting. Tom's been under stress lately. He planted instability early. Subtle. Then I remembered something else. 2 months ago, the district announced they would be restructuring leadership roles. The English department head position, currently David's, was being reviewed. And I had been approached informally about stepping into a broader curriculum role, promotion track, above him. The thought settled in slowly. What if this wasn't about Emma first? What if Emma was useful? I called the union attorney. If administrative staff had motive to resolve this quickly, I asked carefully, would that affect how evidence is handled? There was a pause on the other end. Are you suggesting internal bias? She asked. I'm suggesting timing. Silence again. Then, send me everything. For the first time since the escort, the narrative didn't feel unstoppable. It felt flawed, and flawed systems leave trails. I just had to follow them before they decided to close the case without me. The second interview wasn't as controlled as the first, because this time I wasn't alone. Union counsel sat beside me, laptop open, calm, watching. Karen looked less composed than before. David didn't attend this one. That detail felt intentional. We've reviewed the metadata, my attorney began, before anyone else could steer the conversation. Can you explain why the submitted screenshots were exported from an administrative device 2 days before the complaint was filed? Karen didn't blink. I'm not familiar with technical specifics, but someone is, my attorney replied, because the device ID traces back to an internal login. Karen's jaw tightened slightly. The student may have used a school computer. At 6:14 a.m., my attorney asked. Before classes began? Silence. The attorney continued. Additionally, the screenshots omit contextual academic discussion visible in the original server logs. Karen shifted in her chair. We are prioritizing student safety. Of course, my attorney said evenly, but safety does not override due process. Due process. The phrase changed the air in the room. Karen leaned forward. Emma reports she felt uncomfortable. I spoke then. Did she report that before her midterm grade dropped from an A to a C? Karen's eyes flicked to the file. That is unrelated. Is it? I asked. My attorney slid another document across the table. Custody filings. Emma's mother had filed an emergency petition 3 days after the school's internal climate concern. Memo, citing unsafe male faculty environment. Unsafe. The accusation wasn't just academic. It was legal leverage. Karen's composure faltered, just slightly. You're implying manipulation, she said. I'm implying coordination, my attorney corrected. The room was no longer about guilt. It was about procedure. And procedures leave fingerprints. Before the meeting ended, my attorney requested something else. Formal deposition of Emma Clark, under counsel. Not administrative questioning, legal. Karen hesitated. Because once sworn statements begin, narratives have consequences. As I left the building, I saw David in the parking lot. He froze when he saw me. For the first time, he didn't look concerned. He looked worried. And that was when I knew. This wasn't collapsing anymore. It was turning. The deposition was held in a small conference room at the district office. Neutral walls, fluorescent lighting. A recorder placed in the center of the table, like a quiet threat. Emma sat across from us, her mother beside her, hand resting protectively on her arm. Her attorney flipped through a folder without looking at me. Emma didn't look at me either, until she did. Just once. And in that glance, I didn't see fear. I saw pressure. The district attorney began. Emma, you understand you are under oath. She nodded. You allege that Mr. Whitaker engaged in inappropriate communication. Yes. Specifically, he messaged me late. Sighed I was mature. Asked to meet privately. My attorney leaned forward. Emma, can you confirm that the messages you submitted were complete screenshots? Yes. Are you certain? A pause. Yes. My attorney turned his laptop around so she could see. This is the full server log. Same date. Same timestamp. The preceding message references your essay thesis. The word mature appears in direct relation to literary analysis. Emma's jaw tightened. I don't remember all the details. Of course, my attorney said calmly. Memory can be selective. Her mother stiffened. My daughter felt uncomfortable. No one is dismissing feelings, my attorney replied. But we are examining facts. He tapped another line on the screen. Emma, do you recognize this login? Her eyes flickered. It was subtle, but visible. That's the administrative workstation ID that exported your screenshots. Silence. Did you create these on your phone? He asked. Yes. The metadata indicates otherwise. Her breathing changed. I sent them to someone. Who? Longer silence. Her mother squeezed her arm. Emma swallowed. Mr. Mercer helped me. The room stilled. David Mercer. Department head. My colleague. He said I should save everything, she continued, voice smaller now. He said it might protect me. Protect you from what? My attorney asked gently. She hesitated. From retaliation? Retaliation for what? For not responding the way he expected. The script was fraying. Did Mr. Whitaker ever ask you for anything inappropriate? My attorney pressed. Emma's eyes filled, not with guilt, with overwhelm. No, she whispered. Her mother stiffened again. Emma, the attorney repeated. Did he? No. The word landed heavier than the accusation ever had. Because it was finally said under oath. Her shoulders sagged. Mr. Mercer said the messages looked bad if you cropped them, she admitted. He said the school needed to be careful about teachers like that. Like that. I didn't feel triumph. I felt something colder. David hadn't accused me publicly. He had positioned me. The deposition ended quietly. But reputations don't recover as quickly as transcripts. As we stepped outside, my attorney said only one thing. They overplayed it. For the first time in weeks, I breathed without calculating the damage. But I knew something else too. Truth wins in rooms like that. Outside of them, it's slower. The district didn't apologize. They reinstated me. There's a difference. The official letter arrived 3 weeks after the deposition. After thorough review, insufficient evidence supports the allegation. Mr. Whitaker will resume duties immediately. Insufficient evidence. Not false, not fabricated. Just legally survivable language. David Mercer resigned the same week. Personal reasons, the memo said. Karen Doyle remained. She sent a brief email. We appreciate your cooperation during this difficult process. Cooperation. As if I had been a participant in my own dismantling. The first day back, The hallway felt heavier than the day I left. Students avoided eye contact, not out of guilt. Out of uncertainty, teachers offered tight smiles. Some genuine, some rehearsed. Reputation doesn't snap back into place. In LIMS, when I stepped into my classroom, I paused. The desks were arranged exactly as I had left them. 32 seats. 32 silent witnesses to the moment my name shifted from teacher to headline. Anna was not in that class period. I didn't know if that was mercy or avoidance. I placed the crucible back on the podium. Irony doesn't age well. Before the bell rang, I said something I hadn't planned. I want to address something directly, I began. No dramatics. No victim speech. There was an allegation. It was investigated. It was not supported by evidence. Silence. If any of you ever feel uncomfortable in any classroom, mine or anyone else's, you should report it. That doesn't change because I'm standing here. A few students nodded. One finally met my eyes and didn't look away. That mattered. After school, I found Lily waiting in my car. She didn't say anything at first. She just reached over and squeezed my hand. "You didn't resign," she said. "No." She smiled slightly. "Good." Driving home, I realized something sobering. My integrity endured, but my innocence would always need a footnote. And that's the cost no reinstatement letter mentions. Reputation isn't built in a day. It's built in quiet consistency, and it can be fractured in hours. What I learned isn't that the system protects truth. It protects stability. Truth survives because someone insists on it. So I'll ask you this. If your name was dragged through certainty before evidence, would you stay and fight, or would you disappear quietly? Tell me what you would have done.